Hi everyone, welcome to Module 4. For Module 4, we're going to be reading chapters 9 and 10. You have quiz number 2, as quiz number 2 is going to be covering chapters 9 and 10. You have 25 multiple choice questions. You have 2 attempts, 60 minutes, and I'm going to take the highest of the 2 attempts. Please make sure to focus your efforts on each of the attempts so you can do well, as this will really help your effort in the course. If you have any questions or need additional resources, please let me know, as I'm more than willing to assist. When we look at this week, we're going to be looking at the role of comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is looking at how firms will make decisions with regard to trading. When we look at international trading, you notice that the U.S. is not as competitive as they could be. And you notice that one of our big competitors is China. And China has a lot of influence in the market. China is able to influence the market price, and I shouldn't say market price, but able to influence what is being traded in our economy based off of their production levels and their lower costs. This is a big challenge for our economy. We have to evaluate this. You notice that China will use different types of tactics. One is they'll use tariffs. And when we look at tariffs, tariffs are a tax on an imported good. And when tariffs are used, tariffs will create a lot of challenges because it will create higher prices in the domestic economy. However, it will also bring about a lot of challenges. And the challenge it'll bring about maybe more jobs are being created. And these more jobs are very important to focus on. Because when more is being produced in the U.S. rather than China, that creates more opportunities for the U.S. to be able to grow. Now, we have a couple of key terms we're going to look at, and we're going to look at through the graph right here. When we look at exports and imports, you'll notice that an import is a good that's brought in from another country, and exports are goods that are produced in the U.S. You notice that there's a large differential in these two. And when we look at it, you'll see there's been a growth in imports and not a growth in exports. When we look at a growth in imports, you'll notice that the U.S. has a high income level, and they're more willing to spend on these different goods and services, given their higher income levels. And that's something that's very important. And this trade deficit has been growing dramatically. Now, leading exporting countries is also important. You notice that China's 9% of all exports in the U.S., as the United States is. This is a big part of our economy, but not as big as compared to China. China is very focused on the role of exports. So they produce things in their country and they ship them out. That's very important to them. We also look at different challenges that these firms will be facing. And when we look at comparative and absolute advantage, comparative advantage is looking at what we can do in terms of a lower opportunity cost. The country that has a lower opportunity cost is the one that will be willing to supply more in the market. When we look at absolute advantage, this is the country that's able to produce more. Countries are facing a lot of challenges when they're producing. And when we look at absolute advantage, you notice that just because you're a larger country doesn't mean that you have the advantage in producing more. When you look at comparative advantage, that's focusing on who can produce at a lower opportunity cost, who gives up less. When we look at trading, trading's based off comparative advantage, not absolute advantage. So these are some of the concepts that we're going to be focusing on. Make sure to take advantage of the 2 attempts on the quiz. If you have any questions, please let me know. But I look forward to your effort this week.